Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, and welcome to Learning to Glow podcast. I am your host, Jess. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we have a great episode for you. I have Linda, who is a AFAA certified group and personal trainer. She was born and raised in Sweden and started teaching aerobics when she was 16. And it's been 30 years and she's still sharing her passion for fitness as a personal trainer. She's now located in Coeur, Idaho. She follows the super slow method. And she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the world of fitness. I have personally trained with her off and on for years, and she is incredible. She really knows her stuff. And when I wanted to have a guest that was going to be talking about fitness, I knew it was going to be Linda that I was going to be asking because of her incredible knowledge. In this podcast, we go deeper into why, especially for women, why it's important to strength train and how as we age, we can stay healthy and strong. I hope you enjoy this episode. I think it's a fantastic episode. And without further ado, here is our conversation. Hello, Linda. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm glad to be here.
Yay. Okay. So I like to start every episode with just telling us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Linda. I am born and raised in Sweden, actually. At an early age of 16, I started teaching group fitness, and that is almost 30 years ago, believe it or not. But I'm still in the fitness industry, and I love what I do and just teaching people to live healthier and stay strong.
Well, we've actually worked together and worked out together for a very long time and off and on, and you are incredible. So I can't wait to talk about all of this. I love fitness, as you know, so much. And I love to talk about fitness and exercise in a deeper way than just weight loss, because I think a lot of people think when they think of benefits, they're like, oh, well, I have to work out. Like it's a new year. I need to eat better. I need to exercise for weight loss, but there's so many other benefits. Let's start by just talking about some of the benefits of exercise.
Absolutely. Just being physically active will help you manage your stress levels. You will most likely sleep better, manage your weight, like you mentioned, but also strengthening your bones and your muscles, and you will improve your balance. And with all of this, you're going to live longer. So it's a win-win.
I love that. That's so true. And I think we don't, especially as we're younger, we don't really think of those other important reasons that we need to be exercising and being active just in general. But I love to talk about strength training, especially for women, because a lot of times, and I was very guilty of this, as you know, that I was very into cardio for a very long time. And I would I would run and I would do cardio classes at the gym that were like 60 minutes long and 5 times a week. And there was not a weight in sight. So I did not strength train. I did not lift weights. Like I was very intimidated by the gym. And, it's more recent that I learned the importance of strength training. So I want to talk a little bit. Maybe you can share some of the benefits of that.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think it's important to exercise and find things that you really enjoy to do, whether that is running or biking or doing those cardio classes, go for it. But as I've learned too, I'm in my mid-40s, and it's important for women especially to strength train. Most of you have heard of osteoporosis, which is a deterioration of your bone tissue. This will lead you to brittle bones. So this is very common in women. Men can get it too, but it's more common in women. And by doing strength training, you're strengthening your bones too. So we need to do that for ourselves to keep strong. Now, I did have a lady, she's been working out with me for a little over a year. She's 72 years old, but she just had her bone density scan. And she was so excited that the only thing she changed with since the last scan 2 years ago was the strength training with me 2 times a week. And she actually gained 5% of bone density in her lumbar spine. So those are things we really need to look at. Also, there's something called sarcopenia, which is muscle loss. So at the age of 30, we start losing muscle mass, and we lose about 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So you got to keep up with it.
That's incredible. I bet her doctor was like, "What did you do? Like,
Yeah.
what changed?" Because that's usually you see it going the other way.
Yeah, and it also helps her because she doesn't really enjoy strength training, but that was so exciting for her that, she knows she's getting stronger and she's going to keep going, because she was kind of questioning why she was doing it. But so that was a huge, huge win for her.
Well, that is incredible, but also she's doing it twice a week. So it's not like you have to do this every day. So tell us, like, how often would you recommend?
So I recommend doing it twice a week. Now, the program I coach right now is called Super Slow Training Method. So we actually do load up your muscles we work with machines. Now, there are many different ways to strength train, and we'll talk more about it. But the way I train right now it's called high intensity training. So the idea is to lift as heavy as you possibly can, as slow as you possibly can. So we actually only do and recommend doing 2 times a week for 15 minutes. And that's all we do.
Oh my gosh. And you can look at the results after that. That's incredible.
Yeah. If you are loading up your muscles that much, it's recommended because you're actually breaking down your muscle tissue when you work out. You tear your muscle tissue, and it's a recovery where you're going to grow back stronger. So you want to take recovery between your workouts, about 24 to 48 hours in between your strength training.
Okay, that's a good point. So you were just saying that there are different ways that we can get our strength training in. What are some of the different ways we can do that?
Well, I mean, a lot of people go to the gym and lift their weights, which is great, but that might be intimidating for people too. Lifting dumbbells, barbells, resistant bands, using cables. You can also go to strength classes and lift weights that way. Would try to lift heavy. A lot of women are intimidated of the bigger weights because they think they're going to bulk up. You're not going to bulk up. You're going to tone your muscles. So I would challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to pick up heavy weights, unless you have injuries, of course. But with the heavier weights, you're going to tone your muscles. And a huge benefits of building more muscle is that your metabolic rate is going to go up. So you're actually going to burn more calories at rest if you have more muscles. So why wouldn't you lift weights? Because you're going to burn more calories, so you can, well, I wouldn't say eat more, but yeah.
That's great. That I've heard that before. And I think that's another huge benefit to doing that strength training. I heard you say something about resistance training, and I have a question about that. Is strength training different than resistance training, or is resistance training, like, when I think of resistance training, I think of like body weight exercises, or like using the bands, like, or the cables, like you mentioned. Is that kind of accurate?
So yes, I guess it's kind of the same thing. You want to strength train. When you strength train, you want to use a resistance. You want to work against a resistance. So whether that is, you can strength train with your body weight, just thinking about the resistance you're using, whether that is doing a squat and thinking about pushing the floor away, or doing a push-up, same thing. You want to work that resistance. Now, you're lifting dumbbells or barbells, you also have the resistance, you have the force of the weight that you're lifting. So I guess it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, good. Because I do workouts where on some days it's like actually a smaller weight, 2 or 3 pounds, but we're moving with them, and it's a longer period of time than it would, it's not just 1 or 2 reps, obviously, but we go longer, and we're kind of like burning that like muscle out with those little littler weights and then also with the bands. And I think it's fun too. And I think that's another thing I wanted to talk about is like, how
Good.
do we do this? First of all, I wanted to talk about if we don't feel like going to the gym, like you said, if we're a little intimidated, how can we get some of this maybe at home?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to do it at home, and there are so many free workouts online. You just search online for a at-home strength workout or resistance workout. If most people have dumbbells at home or a resistant band, use them, bring them out, use them. Don't be scared of them because they are good for you. But also find the fun and set the time. Be good to yourself. Like set the time for you. It's your time for your health to be stronger and to get that workout in. Yeah, search online if you're not sure, for sure, to find some programs to help you out.
I think that's such a good tip for, especially if you're a beginner and you're like, yeah, I want to strength train, but how do I get this in? I have no idea what I'm doing. And videos, there's so many YouTube videos that you can watch that are
Mhm.
free and it doesn't have to be, you can look up like workout routines on Pinterest. There's so many options, I feel like.
Absolutely. And you don't always, if you don't have the weights, don't worry, pick up soup cans or water bottles. And a lot of this stuff you can do without weights as well. Like I said earlier, think about what you're doing and what muscle groups you're working and all of that. If you don't know where to start, just do it. Just
And
find
then
something
it's like, and
online.
it's less, I think it's less intimidating when you also realize you can see results and you can see benefits. Just you don't have to do it every day. This is like, you because it's required what you said for the recovery time. You don't need to be doing like as much strength training as I think people think they need to do to see a difference. So you can start small and do a couple days and you still see results.
Absolutely. However, it's important to be patient with yourself because you're not going to see the results in a week or two, even. Be patient, and as we're aging, it's not that important still to have that body of a 20-year-old because we're not going to get that one back. Just be patient and think about why you're doing it because I don't know, you just have to do it and be patient. It takes time for sure.
Yes, I know. And I think that's something that if somebody starts doing a new workout program and they're not seeing instant results, then they're frustrated and they might feel like more inclined to give up. But I also feel like that's when, I want to talk about like we've started this new program or we've decided we want to work out. We have a good reason why. How can people stay accountable? Like how do we keep ourselves accountable to committing to this, this new program or this new goal of getting exercise in for our bone health and all of the other amazing benefits? Like do you have tips that you give your clients or what do you like to recommend?
Oh, yes. Yeah. First of all, like I mentioned, mark your calendars. It's your time, it's your appointment with yourself to do this. So I would try to set that time. I understand things comes up and you might have to move things around, but get it done. A good way too is to have a workout partner, someone that you either go to the gym with, but it might be someone that you set the same time and you work out at home together, or just even check in with each other. Did you get your workout in today? I didn't. And then you can encourage each other to get it done. Now, if you are intimidated to start and if you can't afford it, the personal trainers are out there. There's many of them. They will keep you accountable because you're not going to skip out on your personal trainer. They will help you make your workouts and challenge you and work around any injuries you might have. And they're going to help you do it right, fix your form, and keep you accountable. So many ways, but I would definitely, if you don't feel like you can do this on your own, just find a friend, tell them to check in on you.
I love the idea of starting with a personal trainer too, because I learned so much from working out with you. And especially when you're new to something like strength training, like you can see that now I know a lot of moves and different exercises. I know how to have the correct form. And I learned that from working with a personal trainer. And that was really helpful at the time. And now I don't need to go to a personal trainer. I can go to do my own thing and remember what I've learned and like make sure that I'm using correct form, because you can actually injure yourself if you're doing things that aren't correct. And with the form, I've seen that
Yes.
with injuries and things. So I think it's a really good idea to have, if you can, maybe have a few sessions with someone,
Mhm.
even if you're not continuing on that path. I've tried so many different things. I love the idea of keeping accountable with a friend as well. I have an early
Mhm.
morning class that I do, and I have a friend that I pick up on the way to the gym. And so I can't just be like, well, I'm not going today because she's waiting for me. She woke up, and I'm going to be there to pick her up. So we really hold each other accountable, and it makes it fun when you have a friend. We get to chat on the
Yes.
way, and then we are there looking at each other and like going, "Oh my gosh, this is so hard," and laughing. It's a nice option if you have it. I think there's also a function on the Apple Watch where you can share your stats with a friend. So
Oh,
you can get
I
like
was not
alerts.
aware.
Yeah, you can be like, "Oh, let's
Great.
follow each other on our watches and like give each other like a thumbs up if we've hit a workout, or, to kind of cheerlead for your friends." So I think that's a fun option too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
I
what do
wasn't
you
aware. I have not
Yeah,
fought Apple
it's
Watch yet.
oh, I like mine. It is fun when it does motivate you, "Oh gosh, I only have 50 more calories until I close my rings," or what, I feel like if you're in a good headspace, because obviously you can be obsessive over everything. So I think if you look at it like a
Yeah.
fun thing, it's kind of a fun motivation, and it's fun to see how much you've walked or how many
Yeah.
calories you burned for the day. It's kind of a fun tool, I guess, a fitness tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people are beginning their fitness journey, do you see any like common mistakes either with your clients or just people that when they're kind of starting their fitness journey?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say starting your fitness journey. It's throughout. Even as a trainer, I love having someone training me because they're reminding me about things I need to think about. So even though you have strength trained for a long time, there are a few things you need to remind yourself of. And even if you are just starting out, I like to think about three different things. It's moving too fast and losing your form and not thinking about what you're doing. So they all kind of go hand in hand. If you're doing a strength class, they are kind of faster pace. So obviously you're going to go with the pace that you're doing in the class, but then it's really important to think about what you're doing. What muscle groups are you working? So, for example, if you're doing a bicep curl, think about your biceps. Are you working it going both up and down, or are you just going through the movement? Squats, the same thing. Are you just sitting down and standing back up, or are you really thinking about engaging your quads, your hamstring, and your glutes? So, really, you're going to get more out of your movement if you really focus on what muscle groups you are working. Now, and that's easier to do if you slow it down. Take a step back, slow it down, think about, am I really feeling this? And you won't be able to do as much until you start losing your form. So check in on the form. A lot of times you hear engage your core. We, as a trainer, we say that a lot, but a lot of people confuse that word core with abs, that it's just your abs. But your core is actually your whole torso, really. So when we say engage your core to keep your form, you really want to engage your abdominals, of course, but that in your back. So engaging your abdominals will protect your back, but also your glutes. Think about your stability through your bottom, your abs, and your back when you're doing any of your movements. That will help you support your back, but also to keep your posture. When the dumbbells or the weight gets too heavy, you also tend to lose that engagement in your core. So tell yourself, tighten up again. And also your shoulders start creeping up when it gets heavy. So shoulders down, so you're not adding that extra tension on your neck. And just keep reminding yourself, because when it gets starting to get heavy, you're going to start losing your form and then you might hurt yourself. So you don't want to do that. So if you start feeling like you're losing your form and you can't correct it, I would go lighter weights, especially if you're in a class, or just do body weight, or be done at that point.
Yeah, you're like, okay, this is it. This is my max, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have
Yeah.
a question about, not that this is a mistake, but it could be. So after exercise, and sometimes you get really sore. What do you think about stretching? And like, is that something that I'm going to be honest, like I'm the worst. After my class is done, I'm like, "Oops," like, let's roll it up and pack it up. And I'm just like out the door. And I know there are times where, I can feel soreness and I'm like, man, I wish I would have, or would it have made a difference if I would have taken the time to stretch? And what are some other things we can do for like muscle soreness and things like that?
Well, so muscle soreness is very different for each individual. Some people get sore all the time, and some people don't get sore. Soreness is not an indicator of a good workout necessarily. You don't have to feel sore after a good workout. Stretching might help that a little bit, but also you do need recovery after. So stretching, I feel it's more important to do a cool down after a workout and just cool that body down, whether that is with some stretching, but also with movement. You can do stretching anytime, and stretching is great for us. Do the stretching in your class, Jessica. They usually do it.
I do,
Now,
yes, I will do it. I will do my stretching.
now the way we train, the way I train right now with the super slow training, we're actually using a full range of motion with every movement we do. So we don't stretch after the workouts. So I don't think it's always necessary, but it feels good to stretch. And stretching more after your workouts is not necessarily gonna guarantee that you're not sore the next day, because you did break down your muscles in that class, and the stretching is probably not gonna help much with that. I would just say the stretching, maybe a longer stretch the next day. And there's a lot of stretch classes online too, and just get that into it. Just feels good, especially if you're tight.
Yes, and I think that does, I mean, that'll help with the flexibility and all of those things that I'm not flexible at all. So I guess I need to make that a priority. So is there any
Yes.
like post exercise tips that you have, or just maybe tips in general about strength training?
I think it's important that you will tone up and you will build muscles lifting weights or doing whatever you're doing. If you're looking to lose weight, it's really about nutrition too. You got to be good about what you eat. And I train a lot of women over 60 right now. What we see very common, women don't, or men too, but they don't get enough protein in their diet. It's so important to eat or drink a lot of protein to build muscle. So we recommend for women, or most of them are over 60, but we recommend to getting 100 grams of protein in daily. Now, you should probably do more than that, but that 100 grams, it's hard to get to that. And if you just be more aware of what's in your eggs and your yogurt or whatever it is as your protein source, just check in on it a couple of days, see how many grams you get to. This is something, and I'm not a nutritionist at all, so I can't really speak too much of this, but it's hard myself. It's hard to get 100 grams of protein or more in a day. For sure. Water too. Most of us don't drink enough water. So get your water in at least half your body weight in ounces every day. Keep you hydrated. And that too, for most people, that's a big goal. I think, the best thing to do is just make that appointment with yourself every week. Set your workouts, be good to yourself, and treat your body nice.
Yes, and I feel like it's so doable when you break it down like that. It's a couple times a week, and it's interesting that your sessions and the people that you work with, they're only doing 15 minutes a day, and it's like still such a benefit to them, and they're seeing, such great results. So it seems very doable. This isn't like anything crazy that we can't like fit into our lives. So I love
No,
that.
we all have 15 minutes.
Yes,
15
I love
minutes is
it.
nothing.
I think it's
So,
fun
but
too to kind of get to a place where, especially if you're new to doing it, or fitness isn't really a habit for you, it hasn't become something that's part of your daily life. That also takes time, and be like gentle with yourself and kind to yourself, because it is something for a lot of people that they absolutely hate. Like I see it all the time. People tell me I hate working out or I hate exercising or whatever. And one thing that I've been working out for so many years that this is it's just part of my life. Like it's one of the biggest
Mhm.
benefits for me is it's so stress relieving. And if I don't get it in, I don't feel that as good. So I think
Yeah.
getting the habit of it down and then realizing like, oh my gosh, this is like so beneficial just for my state of mind, which is like my number one
Uh-huh.
reason that I like to do it. And by finding things that are fun, like that are interesting to us that we like, I am always trying new fitness because I think keeps it fresh. And
Good.
yeah,
Good.
it's like I think like a few years ago, right before, I think in like 2019, I took a tennis class and I was just doing it because a couple of friends were taking it and I fell in love with tennis. I'm like, this is so much fun. It's like something that I can go and do and be active and I can be social. And I just ended up falling in love with it. So it's like, try
That's
something
great.
new, try a new thing. And you never know, you can be having a blast and getting exercise at the same time.
Absolutely. There are so many different programs out there. And I, I've been a trainer for 30 years and I've tried so many different things and taught so many different things, everything from boot camp to circuit training to cycle, and like to try different things. And a lot of the gyms, they offer a free class. So go and try it all out, and or give it a month and try it out and find things you enjoy to do. But don't forget to lift those weights.
Yeah, that's right. And I think with you, like you're in a different climate now. You've moved from where you were living and now you're in a colder climate. There are even like fun winter sports that you can do and you're outside and like there's so many, it's like just like
Absolutely.
stacking on like how you're being outside is a benefit and getting the exercise is a benefit. Having some fun in your life
Yeah.
is a benefit. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. I think this was so motivating. I think it's doable for everyone. And I think
Yes.
it's very helpful. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to share and I'm glad to be on here.
Yay. Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.